I'd like to suggest that God doesn't destroy, we destroy ourselves. That's why we need to know. We need to know exactly what is in everything that our body is going to be exposed to. We are just a bunch of cells, but these cells specifically that we're looking at tonight are the heart cells, because that heart muscle is made up of muscle cells. So progressive acceleration of cardiopulmonary. If you don't have a 46 beat per minute heart rate, do you know you can get it?
Meet Barbara O'Neill, a passionate Australian naturopath and health educator with over 40 years of experience. She firmly believes in the body's ability to heal itself and dedicates her work to teaching others how to unlock their own healing potential. In this video, Barbara O'Neill will be exposing the 5 worst foods that are bad for your heart. Through her guidance, we'll be revealing how these everyday staples are silently wreaking havoc on your heart health without you even realizing it. But that's not all. We'll also introduce healthy alternatives for each one to help safeguard your heart. So make sure you stick around until the end to catch all the valuable insights. Did you know that aging causes changes in your heart and blood vessels, raising the risk of heart disease and other health problems if not properly managed? Heart disease is a leading cause of disability in older adults, often limiting daily activities and lowering quality of life. As you age, your heart may not respond as quickly to exercise or stress as it once did. But the good news is that by maintaining a healthy diet, staying active, and managing your blood pressure and cholesterol levels, you can strengthen your heart and reduce the risk of heart disease. Since you are what you eat, it's essential to prioritize your diet by incorporating heart-healthy foods and avoiding the harmful ones we'll be discussing in this video with expert advice from Barbara O'Neill. The first food on Barbara O'Neill's list of worst foods that destroy the heart are seafoods, and here's what she has to say about them.
So be careful of your exposure, your family's exposure to chemicals, because they all come in. The blood picks them up and they start damaging the endothelium cells that line the arteries. Heavy metals can also do it. The mercury fillings in the teeth, did you know that they are constantly leaching the mercury into the body? You can Google the smoking tooth, and it's just a couple of minutes, not even that. And they've got a screen that they've developed, that they have a tooth with mercury filling in it. They rub it like you would rub if you were chewing gum or eating, and this screen shows the fumes that are coming off. They pour hot water, like if someone was having a hot drink, they see the fumes coming off. In fact, one dentist did a presentation and he showed us this tooth that had been in a man's tooth for 25 years. When it went in, it was 50% mercury. Now, when they took it out, after 25 years, it had 25% mercury in it. Where's the other 25%? It leaches into the body. Fish. Most fish today, there's hardly a fish that hasn't mercury in it.
Mercury is a potent neurotoxin that accumulates in the food chain, particularly in marine ecosystems. Small fish absorb mercury from the water, which is then ingested by larger fish, leading to a concentration of mercury in their bodies. This process, called biomagnification, means that big fish like sharks, swordfish, and tuna can contain extremely high levels of mercury. According to the National Library of Medicine, mercury toxicity is associated with cardiovascular diseases such as hypertension, coronary heart disease, atherosclerosis, and cardiac arrhythmias. Now, let's talk about why mercury is so dangerous to our cardiovascular health. Mercury is a neurotoxin that can damage the endothelium cells lining your arteries. These cells play an important role in regulating blood flow, preventing clotting, and maintaining the overall health of your arteries. When damaged by heavy metals like mercury, they can lead to inflammation, oxidative stress, and the formation of plaque, all of which contribute to heart disease. Now here's the worst part. Mercury can also disrupt our body's natural balance of essential minerals, leading to electrolyte imbalances and cardiovascular problems. For example, mercury can displace potassium in our bodies, leading to abnormal heart rhythms and even heart failure. So, what can you do to protect yourself from heavy metals? Limit your intake of mercury-containing fish and choose low-mercury fish like salmon, sardines, tilapia, and shrimp. Before we continue, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more eye-opening content like this. You can also support us by dropping a comment if you find this video helpful. We'd love to hear from you. Now let's move to O'Neill's next worst food for the heart.
Now there is one drink that leaches the magnesium and the calcium out of the body, and that is caffeine. Now there was a bit of a groan last night when I mentioned this one. I call it Australia's darling. Is it New Zealand's darling too? What's a darling? Something they love. And it's very, very effective at leaching the calcium and the magnesium out of the body. And most people don't realise that coffee is a huge contributing factor to dehydration, to heart malfunction, and also to imbalance in heartbeats. So there are some things that have to stop if you want to keep the heart withal diligent, and one of them is caffeine, because of the way it leaches the magnesium out of the body. And as you can see by what I just described, magnesium is so important. Anyone that comes to me with high blood pressure, we do quite a few changes, but we always supplement with magnesium because it keeps that heart muscle at rest. You see, your systolic is your high point and your diastolic is your bottom one. It relaxes that diastolic and brings it down a little bit.
Although caffeine is a popular stimulant enjoyed by many, it has a hidden downside when it comes to heart health. Barbara O'Neill cautions that caffeine can deplete the body's magnesium and calcium levels. This depletion of essential minerals can trigger a series of heart-related issues, such as dehydration, irregular heart function, and even an increased risk of heart disease. And do you know what's even shocking? Caffeine is present in various beverages and products you might not suspect. From energy drinks and soft drinks to chocolate and certain medications, caffeine can sneak into your daily diet without you even realizing it. Now here's how caffeine can have devastating effects on our heart health. Caffeine can leach out magnesium from the body, which is particularly concerning because magnesium plays a critical role in maintaining healthy blood pressure, heart rhythms, and cardiac function. When magnesium levels drop, the heart muscle becomes strained, leading to increased systolic blood pressure and decreased diastolic blood pressure. To back this with scientific evidence, a study posted in the National Institute of Health states that drinking caffeine is associated with high blood pressure. But there's more. Dehydration, a common side effect of caffeine consumption, can lead to decreased cardiac output, reduced blood volume, and even heart failure. Moreover, caffeine's ability to disrupt heart rhythms can lead to arrhythmias, palpitations, and even cardiac arrest. But here's the thing. Caffeine's impact on heart health is not just limited to high levels of consumption. Even moderate caffeine intake can lead to negative effects, particularly in people with pre-existing heart conditions. Therefore, reducing or eliminating caffeine from our diets can lead to significant improvements in heart health, including lower blood pressure, improved cardiac function, and reduced risk of heart disease. So, what can you do to protect your heart from the dangers of caffeine? Here's what to do. Try to limit your daily caffeine consumption to no more than 400 milligrams, which is roughly equivalent to 4 cups of brewed coffee. Another alternative is to opt for decaf alternatives. Switch to decaffeinated versions of your favorite drinks, such as coffee, tea, or soft drinks, to enjoy their flavor without the potential side effects. You should equally avoid replacing water with caffeinated drinks. It's important to stay hydrated by drinking enough water throughout the day to balance caffeine's diuretic effects and maintain proper hydration. In addition, try to support your body's mineral balance by including mineral-rich foods in your diet. At this point, you might have extra questions about how caffeine affects your heart or how to safely reduce your intake. Don't worry, I've compiled even more tips on managing caffeine consumption for better heart health in our newsletter. Click the link in the description box to read it. Moving on to our next food, what did Barbara O'Neill say about foods made from carbs like pastries, cookies, and white bread? Well, let's find out together.
All through the blood, there are protein molecules. And when someone is on a high carbohydrate diet, dumping high glucose, there's a lot of glucose in the blood. And connects with these protein molecules. This happens with the excess glucose, and they become sticky, and they start sticking on the walls of the artery. And say we've got an area here that's quite narrow, and we've got one of these sticky glucose protein molecules dislodges, moves down here, gets stuck. If that's in the carotid artery, there's your stroke. That's the number one cause of a stroke. If it happens in the heart muscle, there's your cardiac arrest, there's your heart attack.
When you consume an abundance of carbohydrates, particularly refined carbs like white bread, pasta, and sugary treats, your body converts them into glucose, elevating your blood sugar levels. Over time, this excess glucose can bind with protein molecules in your bloodstream, creating sticky, harmful complexes that adhere to your artery walls. A study posted in the National Library of Medicine supported this claim, stating that excess carbs could also increase your risk of atherosclerosis. Here's a shocking reality. Atherosclerosis can lead to serious heart issues and even stroke. Think of it as microscopic blockages that narrow your arteries, restricting blood flow to vital organs like your heart and brain. If one of these sticky deposits breaks loose and clogs an artery in the heart, it can trigger a heart attack or cardiac arrest. Similarly, if it disrupts blood flow to the brain, it can result in a stroke.
But on a high carbohydrate diet, there's still a lot of glucose left over. And so now the liver causes some of it to be stored in the cell like a little bunch of grapes, but they're little molecules of glucose. And they're stored there for when we need them. And they're called glycogen. Glycogen is a name given to quick-release glucose stores. This explains why when you wake up in the morning and do your morning exercise, you don't need to eat first. You will get energy because inside your cell, particular muscle cell, there are little molecules of glucose just waiting to be plucked when the need arises. But on a high carbohydrate diet, we've still got glucose left over. And so now, the liver causes that excess glucose to be stored in the most amazing fuel depot in the human body, fat.
You might be surprised to learn that your body's incredible ability to store energy can actually work against it when it comes to excess carbohydrate consumption. As Barbara O'Neill explained, an overflow of carbs in your diet can lead to a surplus of glucose, which eventually gets converted into fat. Picture this. You've just enjoyed a hearty meal brimming with carbohydrates. After eating, your body diligently converts the carbs into glucose, fueling your cells and storing some as glycogen for those quick energy boosts. However, when your glycogen stores are full and there's still an abundance of glucose in your bloodstream, your liver steps in to convert this surplus into fat. However, excess carbohydrates can contribute to the growth of those unwanted fat deposits around your body. As these fat deposits accumulate, your risk of developing heart disease increases. One reason for this lies in the fact that excess fat, particularly around the abdomen, can lead to elevated levels of LDL cholesterol, which is known as the bad cholesterol, that can form plaque in your arteries and obstruct blood flow to your heart. But there's more. These stored fat deposits can also contribute to inflammation within the body. This chronic low-grade inflammation can damage your blood vessels, making them more susceptible to plaque formation and increasing your chances of developing heart disease. But what if I told you that there's an even better way to support your heart health while still enjoying your favorite carbs? It's all about making smarter choices. Start by choosing complex carbohydrates like whole grains, beans, and vegetables, instead of refined carbs like pastries, white rice, white bread, and pasta. Complex carbohydrates help to keep your blood sugar levels steady and reduce the buildup of harmful glucose-protein complexes in your body. Another tip is to pair your carbs with healthy fats and proteins. This slows down the absorption of the carbs, which helps keep your blood sugar from spiking. By balancing your meals, you can enjoy your favorite foods without worrying too much about their impact on your heart health. Additionally, be mindful of your portion sizes. It's easy to go overboard on carbs, especially with hidden sources of refined carbs lurking in many foods. Keeping an eye on how much you eat can make a big difference in maintaining a healthy balance. Moving on, Barbara O'Neill will be revealing what artificial oils do to your body and heart health.
How do they make margarine? Let's say they're going to make it out of flaxseed. Well, they've got a problem, and that is it's liquid. So we've got to make it solid. So what they do is they saturate it with hydrogen ions, and that causes one of the hydrogen atoms to flip over to the other side, which now means the double bond's gone. And to be able to saturate it with hydrogen ions, they have to use a catalyst, and the catalyst is usually aluminium. That's probably the most common catalyst. And I think most people are aware of the link between aluminium and damage in the brain. Now we've got a solid fat. That's a very dangerous fat. In fact, it's only one molecular structure short of plastic. And when margarine comes into the body says, "I do not recognize you." And so what it does, it quickly has to either store it. We're talking about lipomas before, you know, those fatty lumps that people are getting in their body. It's basically, well, there are a few theories, but one theory is that the body can't get rid of the poisons quickly enough, so it just binds it up in a little fatty lump.
Margarine production often begins with vegetable oils, such as flaxseed oil, which are naturally liquid at room temperature. To create a solid spread, manufacturers use a process called hydrogenation, bombarding the oil with hydrogen ions to saturate its molecular structure. This manipulation causes a structural change, resulting in the formation of trans fats. According to O'Neill, trans fats are only one molecular structure short of plastic. This is because they're unnaturally solid at room temperature and difficult for your body to recognize and process. Upon consumption, your body struggles to eliminate these foreign substances and may store them as fatty lumps, like lipomas. Trans fats, like those found in margarine, are known to increase LDL cholesterol levels, which is the bad cholesterol that can lead to plaque buildup in your arteries, also known as atherosclerosis. According to the National Institute of Health, excessive consumption of trans fat can accelerate atherosclerosis. This, in turn, can obstruct blood flow and increase your risk of heart disease. Moreover, margarine's production process often involves using aluminum as a catalyst, which has been linked to brain and artery damage. Now that you know the truth about margarine, you might be wondering what heart-healthy alternatives are available. Well, here's the answer. Opt for natural, unprocessed fats like olive oil, avocado, or coconut oil. When cooking or preparing meals, these healthy fats provide essential nutrients and promote optimal heart health without the hidden risks associated with margarine. Now, for those of you who love salty food and snacks, O'Neill has an eye-opening revelation for you.
But if someone is taking table salt is such harsh minerals, you inject that straight into the blood, you would kill a person. Sodium chloride needs all the other minerals to buffer those two harsh minerals. So someone's putting sodium chloride on their food. Have you noticed that they put it all over their food without even tasting their food? Do you know why? Because these two harsh minerals kill the taste buds. Whereas Celtic salt, Himalayan salt, with all the minerals, they awaken the taste buds. So let's say we've got someone having table salt on everything. So what's happening with sodium levels in their body? They're rising. And they're not eating any fresh fruit and vegetables because it takes too long, and they're so busy they just grab the quick mushy food that hardly needs 3 bites and it's down. So what's happening to potassium levels? Potassium levels now are dropping. With the rise in sodium and the drop of potassium, osmosis happens when diffusion with the highest concentration merges into the lowest concentration. What's now happening to sodium? Sodium levels are rising in the blood. That causes the cell to swell. There's your high blood pressure. The doctor's right. This salt will contribute to high blood pressure.
As Barbara O'Neill rightly points out, not all salts are created equal. Let's break it down. Table salt, also known as sodium chloride, is highly refined and stripped of the essential minerals found in natural, unprocessed salts. This overly processed form of salt is a harsh blend of sodium and chloride, which can overwhelm your taste buds and, when consumed in excess, contribute to high blood pressure. Choosing more natural salts, rich in trace minerals, can be a better way to support your health while still adding flavor to your meals. Here's a simpler explanation. When we consume table salt, the sodium and chloride it contains enter our bloodstream and disrupt the balance between sodium and potassium. This imbalance triggers osmosis, a process where sodium moves into our cells, causing them to swell. As a result, the increased pressure inside the cells can lead to high blood pressure over time. According to a comprehensive study, high sodium consumption is linked to high blood pressure or stroke. But that's not all. Excessive sodium consumption can also lead to an increased risk of cardiac arrest, blood vessel damage, and plaque buildup. Having learned the truth about table salt, you might be wondering about heart-healthy alternatives. Well, according to Barbara O'Neill, Celtic salt and Himalayan salt are excellent options that offer a rich supply of minerals, perfectly balanced to enhance your taste buds while nourishing your body. Celtic salt is packed with essential minerals like magnesium, calcium, and potassium, which help maintain fluid balance and support cardiovascular health. This natural, unprocessed salt not only enhances the flavor of your meals, but also provides your body with vital nutrients to keep you and your heart healthy.